All right, let's get to Dr. David Azerrad. He comes from us from Washington, D.C. He's a Heritage Foundation director for Principles and Politics. So I don't know if you can ever meld principles and politics, Doctor. It's pretty optimistic. All right, first of all, I have inside information, that the speech is going to be a fairly benign, not a hammer. But the wall will be contentious. Do you, first of all, believe that this is President Trump's kickoff speech for his reelection campaign?
Yes and no. I mean, in a certain sense it is, because we're already in presidential mode, so it's going to be on people's minds. On the other hand, the State of the Union address is meant to be kind of a post-partisan moment where the president is supposed to step above the fray, look presidential, and not be partisan. So I think he's somewhat limited, for example, in how hard he can hammer the left. I think the right approach for him would be to go after the swamp and to say the economy's in fantastic shape, and it seems that our politics are very bad. But keep in mind that it's just very hard for me to fight the swamp by myself and not make it a partisan point. Make it I'm representing the interests of ordinary Americans, and I'm being stymied and hampered on both sides. And the wall is a perfect example. He can say, I'm being reasonable, and they're saying no to me.
But that's not the president's personality. I mean, he's a confrontational man. But let me ask you this specific question. Today, or yesterday, President Trump said that he is the most successful president in the history of the Republic for the first 2 years in office. All right, he said that to CBS. Do you think that helps him?
Look, you spoke of what his nature is. He's a braggart. He's not known for his humility. So, I mean, that's a very bold claim one could question. But, I mean, it's undeniable that the first 2 years in office, first of all, none of the apocalyptic scenarios panned out. I mean, you remember with the hysteria in 2016, he was supposed to unleash global chaos, mark the rise of fascism, destroy the American economy. None of that happened. The country's in pretty good shape. And look, he's got a pretty impressive record of accomplishment on taxes, on deregulations, on judges. I think where he has less to show is on the distinctively MAGA side. What has he done on immigration? Well, not much, but there I think he has a plausible explanation, namely, they're opposing me. And,
yeah, I can't get it done myself, and now I'm... But you see, it's all divisive. The reason I asked you that question about the president's view of himself, and he believes it, by the way. He's not just throwing that in to be outrageous or to provoke. Or he believes that he is the most effective president ever in his first 2 years in office. So you could believe it, but you don't have to say it. So when he says it, that gives his enemies in the opposing party and in the media more incentive to drill him, doesn't it?
Yeah, but Bill, at this point, do you really think they need incentives to drill them?
I mean, they don't need it, but it kind of whips them up even into more of a frenzy instead of tamping it down a little bit.
Listen, Trump derangement syndrome set in amongst the elites in the media from, the moment he became a viable candidate. The hysteria set in, and they've been hammering him. I think it's important for him to tout his accomplishments because no one else is really doing it for him.
Certainly going to do that. Now, let me ask you, does it hurt the Democratic Party with independents, people who could go either way in the next presidential election, that they're so nasty that Waters and Lewis aren't showing up, that Pelosi will sit behind them, and you know what she's going to do? Does it hurt them with independence?
I would think so. That, what I find worrisome, and it's the pace at which this is unfolding, is how identity politics is now a non-negotiable in the Democratic Party. The only real debate in the party is, how sympathetic are you to corporate interests? And there you got the socialist wing that is hardline anti-corporatist, and then the Schultz-Clinton wing that kind of likes big business if it's in bed with big government. But on the identity politics stuff, which is intransigent, divisive, and just a poisonous ideology, they're all in sync. And I think that is off-putting to many Americans. And Trump, if you ignore...
But he can't point that out, though. But it'll be interesting to see if Stacey Abrams goes into those waters.
Bill, I would be very surprised if she managed to go beyond identity politics and to have a message that speaks to all Americans. I would love to be wrong, but I would be immensely surprised if she has anything to say to the working class.
You know, she's not writing her speech. As you know, it's written by the DNC and funneled over to her. Same thing with Donald Trump. He doesn't actually write the speech. It's written for him. But I know for a fact that he goes in as Barack Obama did, as Bush the Younger did. They go in with the pen. And there are certain things that they want that are going to be in there. Final question for you. When you have a president as polarizing as Donald Trump, I don't think that anything Donald Trump says, as you just rightly pointed out, is going to de-intensify the Trump haters. I mean, even if we had full economy and everybody, it wouldn't matter, all right? It's so visceral to them that the successes of the country, he's going to get a China deal. Do you agree with me? He's going to get a China deal, trade deal. Mm-hmm. And the trade deal is going to be a lot better than the old trade deal under President Obama. But still, that's not going to, but the independence, that's where he's got to go. And my advice to the president would be tamp down the egoism, yours, all right, and go for those people based on facts. Fact. And I'm, if I were giving that address tomorrow night, it would be top to bottom facts.
I agree with you about going after the independents. I disagree with you about the facts and say, go for emotion too. Outflank the left on compassion on the immigration question. Look at what is happening to women and children who are being brought into this country, sometimes against their will. Don't just do the hardline conservative principled argument about we're a sovereign nation with borders. That's important. Bring out the human tragedy and say that a wall would help these people. That, I think, will win people over.
Maybe.
And look, Trump
but he's tried it before. Last year he had victims who were killed by illegal aliens, murdered. He's had it before. I don't know if the independence at this point, I think it's more wallet. If I were going to go after the independents, it would be economy. I don't know about the wall. Hey, Doc, very nice talking with you. We'll have you back, and we really appreciate you taking time today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Bill.
Sure.